Neon Genesis Evangelion, the End of Evangelion, may in fact be my favourite movie of all time. It's a masterclass in character-driven storytelling and brings together most of the major plot threads found in the preceding episodes. Here, Shinji must face a choice about whether to carry out or cancel the Human Instrumentality Project. But what is the project? That's the topic of today's video. Not just to break it down what it means within the world of Evangelion, but also to break down the meanings hidden within. My name is Adam, I'm the Angry Mortal, and it's time to break down Evangelion's ultimate metaphor. The second half of the movie, and what we're talking about today, is centered around Shinji, so let's start with where he's at right now. Still grieving after Karu's death, unsure of his place in the world, Shinji also no longer trusts Rei, who previously had been a close friend, as he's learned she's a clone, and he doesn't trust Misato either. He's alone and confused, and a nerve comes under attack. At this moment it would be easier, he tells himself, to die and put an end to all the pain than to fight and keep on living. But Misato tells him to save Asuka from the mass-produced Evangelions, and then sacrifices herself to give him that chance. When he arrives in the loading cage, however, Unit 1 is trapped within Bakelite, and he feels like there is nothing he can do. But then Unit 1 breaks free, and he heads to the surface brimming with unleashed power, to find he's too late. Asuka is dead. Right now, he feels an emptiness and despair like never before. And it's at this point that Lilith appears, offering him the chance to reset the world via the Human Instrumentality Project. And so begins his character breakdown, one of my favourite sections in cinema. And it's here that I'd like to start talking more in depth about the meaning of each scene and setting. We start at a children's playground, showing us that these are circumstances that have been with Shinji his whole life. There are spotlights, as if on a stage, shining directly onto Shinji, highlighting him. Two voices call him over to play, but we never see who is speaking. Shinji begins to build in a sandpit with two dolls, one of which is Asuka's, and so we can assume represents her, and the other one therefore probably represents Rei. When the dolls are called away, their mother resembles Misato as well. Shinji watches them go, but an impassable gap in the stage prevents him from following. He continues to work on the sandcastle alone, but when it is finished, he then destroys it, and then starts to cry and build it back up again. The dolls show how fake the people around Shinji can feel, or how fake he thinks they can be. When they leave, there is a looming physical gap between them that he cannot cross, a divide that prevents him from ever being able to reach them. The only thing he is left with is the sandcastle, so he completes it. But then looking at it reminds him of the people who just abandoned him, the people who he cannot connect to. So he lashes out and destroys it. However, then worried about them coming back, or perhaps upset by ruining the proof of the time he was able to finally connect with someone, he begins to build it again. This plays out into the cycle of hollow joy and vicious self-hatred that Misato talked about. Shinji's habit of lashing out is also shown multiple times throughout this section. He complains that no one is ever nice to him, but when they contradict him, he screams that they are liars, before letting slip his insecurities. When the group as a whole won't help him, he singles out Asuka, telling her she's the only one who can do so. But that isn't true. And she tells him that. And when she then leaves him to try and help himself, he instead attacks her. Shinji has a view of the world in his head, and a need to be needed that he refuses to fix. He'd prefer to hurt and be hurt than to fix himself, because he doesn't care about himself enough to try. When he's at his weakest, he tries to feel powerful through violence, and so he does, stating that if no one will help him, then everyone is better off dead. While the Human Instrumentality Project occurs, we are met with millions of lines of dialogue of people rejecting each other. All the times feelings have been misunderstood, all the times people hurt one another, all the times we've pushed each other away. But below that is the sound of laughter. And then Anno turns the camera on us into our reality. This scene represents the metaphor that Evangelion has always been about, the moment where anime steps into our world. Shinji talks about the difference and separation between dream and reality. And learns that dream, without real people, is hollow and dead. This is escapism. This is about running away from the real world. and hiding in a fake one to avoid the pain.
あそこでは嫌なことしかなかった気がする。だからきっと逃げ出してもよかったんだ。でも逃げたところにはいいことはなかった。
The phrase "I mustn't run away" has been used so many times throughout the run of the show, but it's here the true meaning is really revealed. As Shinji talks, he leads us to the realization at the heart of Evangelion. We cannot survive through escapism. We cannot survive by running away. Life in fantasy, in a world without others, is empty and meaningless, draining our ability to dream as it corrupts our reality. It is when Shinji embraces the pains of the real world and the happiness that comes with being able to be a part of it that he finally realizes his mistakes.
再び AT フィールドが君や他人を傷つけてもいいのかい？
構わない。
It's the same in episodes 25 and 26, and Thrice Upon a Time. This has always been the point. Anna also talks about it during an interview that took place before the first episode aired. Human instrumentality, and Evangelion in general, is a metaphor for the dangers of escapism. Maybe it missed the mark slightly, considering how this is an anime that some of us run to when things are at their worst. But it is these scenes that lay the purpose bare for all to see, and this is why human instrumentality is Evangelion's ultimate metaphor. When the AT fields are being broken down, each of the characters sees a person that they love. Gendo sees Yui, so does Fuyutsuki, Maya sees Ritsuko. So, Aoba's got some explaining to do, really.